We tend to assume that breakthroughs in science require immense resources, prestigious universities, vast funding, and decades of elite education. Yet the mind responsible for some of the most complex mathematics of the 20th century had access to none of this. He could not even afford paper. To calculate his formulas, he worked on a small slate, scrubbing the equations away with his bare elbow hour after hour until his skin bled. His name was Srinivasa Ramanujan. He was a self-taught accounting clerk from South India, and his undocumented, untutored intellect left the world's most accomplished scholars completely stunned. Ramanujan's very existence defies our accepted logic of how scientific progress happens. His life forces us to ask where true, boundary-breaking genius actually originates. He was born in 1887 into a poor Brahmin family in the rural village of Erode and raised in the nearby town of Kumbakonam, a world away from the global centers of science. At the age of 15, he got his hands on a single, outdated textbook containing 5,000 mathematical theorems. Operating in total isolation, he proceeded to solve every single one of them, effectively teaching himself advanced mathematics from scratch. Yet Ramanujan did not take credit for the impossibly complex insights that soon poured from his mind. He attributed his abilities entirely to his family's deity, the goddess Namagiri. He firmly believed that the goddess would visit him in his sleep, writing equations on his tongue and whispering solutions into his dreams. As he later explained it, "An equation for me has no meaning unless it expresses a thought of God." This deeply spiritual, intuition-driven worldview provided the unlikely foundation for mathematical theories that researchers would spend the next century trying to prove. Unrecognized and largely ignored by academics in India, Ramanujan began mailing pages of his handwritten research to famous mathematicians in England. Most of these scholars threw the letters from the unknown clerk straight into the trash. But in 1913, a 9-page package landed on the desk of G.H. Hardy at Cambridge University. Hardy initially suspected the letter was an elaborate hoax. The formulas were so strange they seemed impossible. But after examining them, he realized he was looking at someone who had completely bypassed classical European methods to find truths that had never been written down. That single envelope bridged an impossible divide. It connected an impoverished, deeply religious Hindu clerk with the heart of Western secular academia at Cambridge. In 1914, Ramanujan crossed the ocean and entered the imposing, rigidly traditional world of Trinity College. An immediate philosophical collision occurred between the two men. Hardy demanded rigorous, step-by-step proofs for every claim. Ramanujan, however, simply produced final answers drawn from what he insisted was divine intuition, often unable to explain the mechanical steps of how he got there. The physical environment quickly turned hostile. The freezing, damp English winters shocked a body entirely unaccustomed to the cold, severely weakening his immune system. To make matters worse, the outbreak of World War I triggered severe food rationing. As an Orthodox Brahmin, Ramanujan maintained a strict vegetarian diet, but with fresh vegetables practically unavailable, he began to suffer from acute malnutrition. Isolated in his room, he developed a dangerous obsession. He would work for 30 hours straight without resting, cooking meager portions of rice and salt for himself, acting as a formula-generating machine running completely without oil. The tragic irony of his time at Cambridge was inescapable. The exact same environment that allowed his immortal mind to flourish was simultaneously starving and destroying his mortal body. Despite his failing health and total lack of formal training, Ramanujan reached the peak of academic recognition in 1918, becoming only the second Indian in history to be elected a Fellow of the Royal Society. But the academic victory was painfully short-lived. His physical frame completely collapsed under the weight of severe malnourishment and what doctors at the time suspected was tuberculosis. Sick and exhausted, he returned to India. Largely confined to his bed, he continued to feverishly scribble mathematics onto a slate until he died on April 26, 1920. He was just 32 years old. While his physical body surrendered to a preventable illness, the intellectual seeds he planted in those final, painful days were only just beginning to germinate. He left behind practically no money and no property. His physical legacy consisted of 3 primary notebooks and a disorganized bundle of loose pages containing nearly 4,000 unproven formulas. That bundle of pages, the Lost Notebook, sat forgotten at Trinity College until 1976. Its rediscovery sparked a massive explosion in modern research. Today, the complex equations whispered by his goddess help physicists understand the 24th dimension and black holes. Decades later, G.H. Hardy devised an informal scale of mathematical greatness. He gave himself a score of 25. He gave Ramanujan a perfect 100. Ramanujan's legacy suggests that the most profound insights into the universe occur when rigorous logic is fueled by a boundless, unyielding faith.